What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over the absolute circus that happened today and the only thing that could really help tomorrow. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi had a wild day, despite everything, still close in the green, 1.56%, 1346 the low, 1432 the high, and 70 million shares being traded. So a little bit bump up based on what the average has been. But a couple of things that really moved the market and SoFi a little bit was data points. So you did have the balance of trade came in at negative 61 billion versus negative 66. Hasn't been that low since pretty much mid to late 2022. So that's pretty good. Goes to show that whatever Trump is doing or his bigger plan is kind of working. Aside from that, you had the initial jobless claims coming in at 247 versus 243. Flip side, this was actually a little bit worse for wear, and it hasn't been this high in like a year and a half. So you kind of have mixed data. Some things that really did push SoFi higher though today was a lot of good articles coming out about the fireside chat that happened yesterday. In my opinion, I didn't really hear anything that was like, hey, I need to stop what I'm doing and buy. But maybe I'm wrong. If there was something that stood out to you, let me know in the comments below. But a lot of articles definitely were kind of driving up hype, in my opinion. And one new rating did come out. Didn't give a actual price target though, just maintained their hold rating. So that was done right over here. By position, William Blair, Andrew, who has a 64% success rating. So that also really helped SoFi kind of gain some good momentum. So yeah, I think it essentially you kind of had the market just up and down, right? So you had mixed data. You also had first thing, which in my opinion was one of the big things that pushed fintechs higher, was Trump pretty much alluding to a China deal coming very soon. So they had a hour and a half conversation, and he stated that ultimately things went very, very well for both sides. So alluding to, of course, the market was jumps to conclusions, but alluding to a deal coming. So I think at the end of the day, that's what really drove SoFi higher. And then what caused all of this crazy stuff, I'm sure everyone knows this at the end of the day, but we are having a breakup between Trump and Elon. And honestly, I think the only thing that can save the market from being absolutely getting slammed tomorrow, very red, is Elon just coming out and saying, hey, my Twitter was hacked. That literally might be the only thing, because Elon ultimately said, time to drop the really big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason why they have not been made public. So not only that, that's crazy, but you also have him coming out and saying that he needs to be impeached and that the Trump tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. Market is going to be digesting all of this, most likely as well. The SEC will be probably knocking on Elon's door for the most part, but yeah, absolute craziness. So the only thing in my opinion that could really save Elon and just this whole scenario is Elon just saying his Twitter was hacked. So yeah, just anticipate a lot of volatility tomorrow. But aside from that, no news from SoFi, no SEC filings or anything like that. So it was kind of just piggybacking off of the broader market. Shorts did take advantage though today, and they did return 473,000 shares. 13.53% of the free floats being shorted works out to be 146.92 million shares overall are being shorted. So it was actually rather interesting to see that shorts did actually return quite a lot. So this nice push higher was kind of essentially a squeeze. So shorts returned a significant amount as this did happen, because first thing, shorts were increasing roughly around 1.5 million shares. So during this transition, they returned roughly around 2 million, give or take. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. It is very unfortunate that the whole Elon and Trump scenario played out. And I feel like there's actually a little bit of a battle going on Twitter right now. Some people are on team Elon, some are team Trump. I honestly don't really care. I'm on team making money. So yeah, if this is going to cause some volatility, then buy the dip, do what you need to do, because I feel like fundamentally Elon saying that there's going to be a recession in the second half of 2025 that is, it's just speculation, right? Nobody essentially does know. Powell does have a lot of power in this case, because if things get a little bit worse for wear, he could also cut rates ahead of what the market is starting to price in, which is still September. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how this all does play out. Anticipate shorts to be fairly active tomorrow with the data points. So you do have non-farm payroll and unemployment, but in all honesty, it's going to be all this drama. That's going to be the biggest kind of moving point if it actually stays, or if Elon again either comes out and apologizes or something. I don't know. Something needs to happen to kind of rectify all this. But looking at the options, 28 million in calls, 5.32 in puts, 54% of all the options being done were bullish in nature, and very high volume overall. So 33.6 million in total premiums today. Very low P put/call ratio. That's pretty good. Yesterday was 9.4, yesterday 8.2. So it has not been this high since ultimately May the 12th. So good to see at least some institutions were paying attention to SoFi through options. From the bulls, you see a consensus for it to be above 14 and /1450. The only negative thing about this is that I feel like today does need to be split in halves. So it's hard to tell whether these optimistic options were done in the first half or in the second half. So we'll it's unfortunate, but based on the bulls, you see a consensus for it to be sub 1350. So based on where we did close, clearly there's a little bit more upside anticipated. With tomorrow being Friday, you have ultimately 37,000 at that $14 strike price. So shorts will have a financial interest as well as market makers to ensure it closes below that. You have 15,000 at that 1350 and then 6,000 at that 13. So most likely shorts will try to suppress it below that 1350. Spoiler alert. So just be somewhat aware of that. These are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So a lot of selling. So 2.8 million, 3.9, 1.6, 1.05, 2.2, all of which were done after hours today. 23.5. So yeah, a lot of institutions definitely were selling today. And again, in the second half of the trading day mostly, but dark pool, a lot of transactions. This was often enough used by shorts as per usual, but given where it did close, which was at 1367, it is trading right now between this R2 and this R1. So in comparison, SoFi is actually doing very good. I know a lot of people are relatively pissed off the fact that it's still where it is, but based on this, it's actually holding up very well in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks. So something to keep in mind. So 1371 is going to be that next strong target / resistance. 1354 and then 1326 is going to be the next strong kind of support levels. Aside from the analyst rating and a couple articles talking about the fireside chat from yesterday, it's just the technical. So it did bounce off of that 100-day moving average. So SoFi has been really struggling with that. So it's unfortunate. But as far as right now, tomorrow you will be seeing that kind of push. As I mentioned in my video yesterday, the ALMA and 100-day moving average are converging, so you will see either a push higher or lower, and given the circumstances, I feel like the latter is going to happen, so you might see a little bit more of a push lower. But 1248 and 1240, that is both the 200 and also the 50-day moving average, so very strong support. So that should add that layer of support and whatever else. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Did you buy the dip? Did you sell? What did you do with SoFi? And do you think that this is going to cause tomorrow to be a bloodbath, or do you think the market is going to be relatively forgiving? I see a lot of people like looking at the futures and just saying, hey, it's like the market's only down 0.8. It's not going to be a bloodbath. One thing to keep note of though is big money does wait up until the market does open. That is why they can buy, or that's where they can buy like calls and puts and benefit, right? So straight out the gate, you will see a abnormal amount of puts being purchased, and then the market's going to go down, in my opinion, unless, like I said, something does change or these data points coming out tomorrow are absolutely phenomenal that you can't ignore them. So yeah, we'll have to kind of wait and see how things do turn out. Let me know your viewpoint. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over then take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.